Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV. We're syndicated. You can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So I'm working inside today. I just didn't want to go outside. My asthma's been acting up, and I have a greenhouse, and this is normally where I would be taking care of everything fine in the greenhouse, but on the way to the greenhouse, that's where it's just terribly cold, and it really affects my asthma. So what I'm going to do right now, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put this right here on that and then click right here. And so I wanted to show you what I'm doing. We started the hydroponics garden. Let me go ahead and get the camera, and I'm going to show you real quick what's going on. The plants are doing so well. I mean, so incredibly well. And what's happening is they're growing so fast that the roots are getting big. And so because of that, it's kind of clogging up the whole system right here. And the roots, and that's a good problem to have. I'm just telling you. So as you can see, the lettuces are doing really good. Need to have some phosphorus in here. Brian Brown came over, and we actually taped a show with him earlier today. And so Brian looked at it and he said, you know what? Those leaves really need to be more green than they are. And I agreed with him. They're kind of a limey green. He said they need to be a darker green. So you need some phosphorus. So, and then also some of the leaves are kind of yellowy looking, and you can see how this right here looks. So they already look better. But what I did, I went on ahead and got some phosphorus, and I made a little solution. Let me show you how I did that. So I've got my water right here. I went on ahead and I grabbed, and I'm going to find my little, so I'm going to make sure I tell you the absolute correct measurements on all this stuff. So for the hydroponics system, or for any system really, Miracle Grow, you can use that. Now do not use the granulated. You definitely need to use the liquid for this, okay? Because if you use granulated and some of that gets into your hydroponics pump, it's going to ruin it. So what this calls for per gallon, you need to use 2 teaspoons of the liquid Miracle Grow fertilizer and then 1 teaspoon of Epsom salt per gallon of water. Okay, so I've already made this up, but I wanted to tell you this. You got to make sure this dissolves. So what I'll do is I'll find my own little cup, and I'll put the correct measurements, put a little bit of water in it, and it needs to dissolve. So the liquid feed from the Miracle Grow is going to dissolve that 1 teaspoon of Epsom salts. Then you put it into the water. So this right here has what I need. I needed that solution so we can have more phosphorus into the garden. Now I wanted to show you, I've already done 2 of these. These were inside the hydroponics, you see. And they're pretty big plants. They're pretty big boys right here. And just since I put that solution, I can already tell, see, and I wish you could smell this stuff. It smells so good. The tomato plants smell better and look better. You know, they're darker green. They're not so limey green looking. And then also, this is a dramatic change because it was about to bust out of there. I'm getting kind of big for their britches, so to speak. So this is the basil. And man, that smells good. Everything you see here, all of this stuff came from a seed. Okay, now you're constantly, even now, you want to prune, okay, because there were some bad leaves on this one right here, and I went ahead and just pinched those off because what's happening, if you don't get rid of the bad ones, it's going to choke out the good part of that plant. You know that everything is a good root system. Now, another thing we're going to do before I let you go today, look right over there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's the cabbage plant. Now this right here, you can see the cabbage plant. Now I've already taken some leaves off. I've made slaw and stuff out of that. And it still looks good, but here's my dilemma. So I have, this is a nice one right here. This came from the bottom of a cabbage. Can you believe that? And so all I did was throw it in some water. So you can see some water right there. And so what I'm going to do this time, instead of putting this whole plant into a pot, I'm going to break it down. I think that's what I need to do. Because this plant did not make a ball at all. It just started just like an individual tree or something. It's the way, and it tastes good. There's no problem with it. It's just that I think I'm going to try that and see what happens. Okay, I had to go on ahead and take the thyme out of the pot too, because those little leaves were just turning really yellow. And I'm telling you, just a few hours difference in putting this solution right here made all the difference in the world. So what I'm going to do right now, let's go ahead and put the camera back. I've got a few minutes to work with this, okay, before I have to go into a commercial break and all that kind of good stuff. Now, in the hydroponics system, you know, I've got these little cups right here that I use, and then we'll put something kind of like a piece of foam or these little sponges into, you put the seeds in it, and then you dampen them, get them really wet, soak them up really good, and then you put them into the hydroponics system. But before we do that, we're going to go on ahead and take care of this cabbage. So let's do that. So let's go on ahead and we'll put the camera down so you can kind of get a bird's eye of what I'm doing. And let's see, is that good enough? I think that'll work right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and move these little things here out of the way. And so what I'm going to do at this point, I'm taking this out. Let's move my phone. It doesn't need to be there anyway. Now, I'm not sure how hard or how easy this is going to be. So you see this right here came off the bottom of a cabbage. I've been keeping it in water. Just a little plastic bowl will be fine. No big deal. And so what happens, this thing starts growing some sprouts and it starts growing some roots. And so this is one, this has been going on for just a few weeks, about 3 weeks. This one has been about a week, and you can see what it's already doing. See, it's sprouting out some roots right there as well. But I'm going to keep him in the water a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and work on this one right here, this big boy. Okay, and this one, yeah, see, it's got some roots and stuff going in from it too. So what I'm going to do, there's a bad part on it, so I'm just going to cut that off, and I'm going to go ahead and put that, let's leave the little notes here off. We're going to go ahead and put that in one of these pots. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this. Let's go ahead and cut this one up first. Okay, I got a nice looking little root going right there. But there's a mushy part, and it just feels like that mushy part should not be there. So I'm going to chop that off. Okay, I don't want any of that in there. I don't know. I just feel like that wouldn't be a good idea. Okay, now I'm going to just put this right here. All right, we got rid of that. Okay, let's find a pot to put it in. Let's just do this one. I think that'll be fine. And we're going to see it. Now, I may wind up having to change this pot out a couple of times. I've got a feeling I will, but that'll be fine if I do. So let's go on ahead and I'll just move this, get this and put this in here. So I'm just going to stick it in there. So I'm going to see what this does. We're going to see if this makes one big ball right here in the middle. You're experimenting with me, and I appreciate your patience with me on this. And so we're just going to see what that might do. All right, let's go ahead and put it right there. See, it didn't take long. Now get this one. I think we got 3 plants on this one. So let's go on ahead, and got to be really careful because I don't want to injure it. You know what I mean? All right, let's go on ahead and put down there. All right, so there, we're going to call that one a plant. And let's go right here, kind of in the middle of this one, and I'm hoping you can see because I got bright sunlight coming in here in my dining room. And there we go, got another one. So look, we're going to have 3 cabbage plants. We're going to have, and these basically came off of, you know, like, well, 4 actually. These 3 came off of one bottom part of a cabbage. All right, let's go ahead and put that in this one right here. And we're going to just keep a check on it, okay? All right. I'm putting him right there. I'm not going to bury him too much, but I do want it far enough down in there. All right. Let's go ahead and do this one as well. Okay. So I'm going to put him in here. Right there. And so here's number 4. All right, so we're putting him in here as well. Okay, I think that's going to do pretty good. All right, now before I put water in here, let me show you something else, and this is what's going to work. Because we need a lot of moisture coming into these plants. Okay, so I'll just move these. That way I can kind of give you a bird's eye and let you see a little bit of what I'm doing. All right, so there's an empty, and there's an empty, and then I've got these. I'll just put them right here on this. Now, I don't throw anything away. This is something that came out, I use these, this is probably 10 years old. And so I really like this because I used to use it before I got my greenhouse. So this has got to be over 10 years old. And so I thought, well, I'm going to wind up needing that for something. So what I'm doing, and see, this is the top that went over it. Again, you can use these. If you don't have a greenhouse, start out with something like this. It costs about $10 or maybe even less than that. I don't remember how much it was. So keep on, hold on to these. Don't throw them away. So what I'm going to do, and this is going to hold my water. Now, this is not hydroponics. And what I mean by that, I don't want it just soaking in water. So let me go ahead and put this here. I'll put this one here. I got a total of 4 of them, see? So there's 4 of my cabbages. Now, another really important thing to do before I water these, and I've got some more of these, but I'll just go ahead and put this one in right now. So there's 4 of these plants. They're both cabbages. So what I like to do is put the date down. Okay? And I want to put what it is. Okay, it's cabbage. Okay, and so I'm putting today's date on it. 2023. And so I'm going to stick it in here. Now I'm going to get 3 more, okay, because I want to be able to know what was that date that I went on. That's really important for me to know that as well. Okay, now I'm going to put this over to the side. I'm finished with this part of it because see, this one's still got a little more growing to do. I don't want to stick it into the dirt too quick. Now, another thing that's really important to know about hydroponics or about growing roots on something like this, you need to change that water out. And you've got to do that. You've got to change the water out about every other day because it's this really funky looking thing growing in there. Now, here's one that came off. I'm keeping him too. That could grow into a cabbage. See, there's some roots coming out of that. I'm hanging on to that. All right, so let's go ahead and put this out of the side. And we are going to go into a commercial break in just a couple of minutes. All right, let's go ahead and go into a commercial break now. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for 2 or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. and let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Hey folks, we're back. I don't know if you can see me. It's not that important anyway. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. So what we're doing, we are rescuing some plants from the hydroponics. Hydroponics has done an awesome job at these plants. I mean, it's really awesome the way it's done. So I'm going to show you why I went on ahead and started taking some of these plants out of the hydroponics, because now a lettuce is fine. Lettuce is going to grow out of this and do a great job. The problem is the bigger plants. I've got some, let me show you the sunflower. Here's a sunflower, and look, it's already got a little root on it. I didn't plant these until, when was it? Oh, it was it was the 7th. Okay, so March the 7th is when I planted these. Okay, so I used these little cones right here. It's a little spongy-like thing. I put a seed into it, and so this gonna be a pretty sunflower seed, a sunflower set. Okay, so you know I'm gonna be planting some more sunflowers. So the sunflowers I have, now that was the Ruby Eclipse. You can't tell anything about it. There's a Russian, and there's a Magic Roundabout. And I wanted to show you something about beans. I don't know what, I haven't figured this out yet. So this right here is a snow pea. And take a look at those roots. Aren't they beautiful? It's just a beautiful thing to look at. I'm going to go ahead and put it back, but let me tell you about beans. Beans either work, they do wonderful, like this one, or they're horrible. So what I'm seeing when I'm using the hydroponics and planting the beans, about one plant, about one seed out of 10 comes up. And it's a beautiful plant. Look at that. It's gorgeous. So I don't know, maybe if I space them, maybe that would help. I'll have to figure that out. Okay, here's another one. Now that was a lima, and this is a lima bean too. Look how beautiful that is. And this came out of the hydroponics. It's just a plant that I put in there. So it's just another beautiful thing. Some more basil right here. All of this stuff came from seeds. Now here is a tomato plant. I got it out too early. I took it out too early, and it's still okay. And so I've checked the roots, and the roots seem to be doing just fine. It's just that it needs to be over to its side. I don't think it wants to be with the rest of them. This is a loner right here. And then this one is a purple hull right here. Okay, so what happens, I had them under a heat lamp, and I think the heat lamp was too close. It needs to be up, it needs to rise up. Okay, all right, now let's go ahead and rescue some of these plants here that are in the hydroponics. Okay, now we talked about the solution. I need to go ahead and water these. And Roma right here has already been, that one's already been watered once. I love this cup right here. And find you one if you can like this, because it's real thick, it's fatter on the bottom, and it's more narrow on top. And I'm just finding that and the spout is pretty big. I really like this. I found it at the $5 store on 50-cent day. This has been the answer. This is what I have needed, and I prefer using the glass over the plastic. I just feel it's cleaner. So this is how I water my plants. Now, you would not want me to be your server at a restaurant. I would not do well. I spill water when I'm pouring it. So if you just dig you up one of these, now I know you can, I've seen them on Amazon. You can use the link that you see over in the pot. Just type in measuring cup or just cup with a spout, and you'll find this. I think they're like $5 or something like that. I love it. So watch this. Normally, again, you would not want me to pour your coffee for you at a restaurant. As a matter of fact, when people come over to my house and I'm pouring coffee, they get out of the way until I finish pouring the coffee. So take a look at that. I'm not missing a drop. And that cabbage is going to love it. Here's some more cabbage, going to love it. Some more cabbage and some more cabbage. Now, you need to have soil, you need to have it tested. So my soil here, I'm on Sand Mountain. There's a reason I call it Sand Mountain. It's really sandy. So it can be hard to work with and to grow unless you know what to do. What we're finding is the soil we have needs more phosphorus. Now, this is like a potting soil mix that I've got right here. And so I've added some perlite in it. You can see a bit of the little white right there. It's almost like a little foamy looking thing. And so it holds moisture, which is just pertinent. You've got to have that for when you're doing some baby plants. I'm dying to go outside and plant these. I can't yet. We've got frost warnings all week. I do not need to do that. So see if you can talk me out of it. Now again, I want to go ahead and give you that solution for your new plants. You've got to be really careful with this. Now per gallon of water, what I need is 1 teaspoon of Epsom salt and something else I want to show you. Then we're going to get to planting, I promise. Okay, so this is Epsom salt. Now, if you got it, like I buy everything in bulk, and I've probably had this a good 3 or 4 years. So what I did so that it wouldn't harden too bad, and I could have put more, but I put a little bit of rice in there. And the rice helps to absorb that moisture. See, look, that's how many years old, and I've had it in this bag right here. And this can be a plant's best friend. Now, don't use a lot of it. Again, per gallon, 1 teaspoon, and that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put him over to the side. Now, I want to give you another tip. And this came from a lady. She was not my aunt. She was everybody's aunt. Everybody called her Aunt May. And I grew up with this lady. She had the most beautiful flowers and had a garden space and all this. And she just looked like a little princess. I mean, she was just a beautiful lady and had the longest fingernails. So I asked her one day, I said, how do you, because see, I've got to have my hands in the dirt. So I asked her how she had these beautiful long fingernails working out in the yard, because you would pass by and she was constantly in the yard. She loved it. That was her life. And she said, well, honey, I'm going to show you what I do. She said, I get a bar of soap and I just scrape my fingernails with that bar of soap before I go outside. She said, because I don't like to wear gloves either. So she said, unless I'm working with something with thorns, then I'll wear my gloves. She said, just gently scrape. And what happens is that soap gets down in between your fingernail right here and your finger, the finger part. And it has a barrier to it. So you're not going to have stained hands from being outside in the yard. And that soap is what takes care of that. And then when you get finished, all you got to do, go to the sink and just flick the soap out. That's all you got to do. And that's the name of the game. Okay, now let's get back here to the hydroponics system. I'm going to get the camera down again, and so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go on ahead and get a few of these plants. Okay, now this is a big boy right here. You can tell that this one right here is he's too big for his britches. So let's go ahead and take him out. Oh my goodness, yeah. Look at that big long. That's something right there. Okay, so I'm going to put him over here to the side. I'm going to do 3 more. Okay, so that's 1. And I'm going to eventually, like pretty soon now, I'm going to have to take all of these out and put them in a pot. Let's get this one. Here's one, and of course he's got a whole bunch of roots on him too, but that's got a lot of leaves, and you're thinking, oh yeah, wow, that's awesome, it's got a bunch of leaves. No, that can be an issue, so I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that one. And then let's go on ahead and get this one right here. He's pretty big too. Yeah, look at all those roots. So we need to work with these. So we've got just about 3.5 minutes left in this segment. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera back up so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. Now, you got to keep some scissors handy as well. Okay. And here are my scissors. And let's make sure you can see it really well. And it looks like you probably can. Let's go on ahead and start with this one. Okay, it's got some beautiful roots to it. Look at that, how gorgeous those are. Okay, so gently take him out of his little container. Now don't throw these away. All you've got to do is set these in a solution. Put those in a solution of vinegar, just white vinegar, whatever the cheap store brand is. You don't have to spend a bunch of money at that. They need to be cleansed because, see, some of these have that funky looking stuff on it. See that green right there? You want all of that cleaned off. If you don't do that, it can create disease in your plants, and you don't want that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this over here to the side. Now, I can leave the spongy stuff on there, and I'm not going to take a whole lot of that off because, see, look, see how tender those roots are? See, I don't want to tear them up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my scissors, and I'm just going to cut excess off, okay? Because I want them to grow in the dirt. I want them to have a good old time and make mud pies and all that kind of stuff. Now, when you're doing this, make sure now that you're not harming the trunk of that. You don't want anything happening to that stem because that stem is an important part of the growth process too. So you've got your roots, you've got your stem, and you've got your leaves. Now I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You're constantly pruning, okay? A lot of folks say, well, it's too early to prune. No, it's not too early either. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tear that off. I'm not going to put it in here. I'm going to put that in the trash can because that can cause a problem later. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to make myself a little indention right here. And we're going to plant these little babies. Okay, so I'm not going to put it too deep, but I want it deep enough, and I want to be really kind to these roots down here. Okay, so here we go, and I'm going to cover it like so. Now I'm pressing down, but I'm not making a brick out of it. I'm just gently pressing. Now when I water this, I'm going to show you what happens when I water it. And then I'm going to have to let you go. But when I water it, what's going to happen is it's going to cause this dirt to soften up just a smidgen. Okay, I hope you can see what I'm doing. Because it's going to cause it to soften just for the first time. Then what you're going to do is press it down here again. I want to show you this one again, and then we're going to call it a day because we're about to run out of time. Okay, so here we go. See, I gently took it out of here, and look at these long, beautiful, pretty roots. Aren't they gorgeous? See this leaf right here? See, he's wanting to be in his own little place here. And so what's happened is it turned brown. I want to take anything that's brown, anything that's distracting, I'm going to take that off. We're going to take that off. So let's go ahead and put him down into his new home, just like so. And I'm going to cover that dirt up. And there we are. Okay. I'll wind up watering him again, and we'll just kind of see what happens. My name is Donna Feazell. Thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance TV found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Hope you learned something today. Get a hydroponics. You can go to that website right over there with Amazon.com and pick one up. And you're also supporting this station if you do that. We definitely appreciate you doing that. Have a great one. I'll see you again real soon.